Hi.
Hi. Seems like we've been here before.
Welcome to another episode of FitFam. Today we have another great talk from Super Seminar about hormones. We're going to get into it a little bit, but as always, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And this is Doug, the Formulator.
Boop, boop.
And we are going to share in this episode my favorite talk of the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, yours were amazing too. But this one came from me. Not the talk, but the human.
I wasn't even thinking about my talks. I was thinking about Dr.
No, they
Marty
were
and
all
everyone.
amazing, but there's something about watching your children do something that they're incredibly passionate about and sharing it with others. There's few feelings that are like that, and watching Nevaeh on stage convey just how much she loves helping women and hormones, because it's a big part of who we are as women. It was really, really, really remarkable. And I know I'm biased, but I was sitting next to others who were also in awe of her delivery.
Yeah, it was really great. And I think this is good for everyone to watch because it helps guys understand how complex hormones are, especially for women, but also gives some great advice of what to do for that balancing, no matter what the age group is. So, man, let's check it out. Nevaeh Grant Low on hormone balancing.
Here we go.
Okay, so before I get started, we are going to do a little bit of a breathwork session. In order for my talk to make sense, I need everyone to be as in tune and present as possible. So I'm going to ask you all, if you can, to set everything down that's in your hands. Close your eyes for me. Put your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your belly. Can we get some music rolling? I'm going to have you all close your eyes and take a 3-second breath in and a 3-second breath out through your mouth. Now let's take a 4-second breath in and a 4-second breath out through your mouth. Now we're going to make it a 5-second breath in and a 5-second breath out. Keep this tempo and keep your eyes closed. Feel your feet planted, the rhythm of your heartbeat, your oxygen flowing through you, the sounds of this music grounding you. Be in tune with what your body is telling you. Inhale success, freedom, love, service. And exhale negativity, scarcity, jealousy. Couple more deep breaths. Now one more deep breath for me, and I want you to hold it at the top. Now release. And you can slowly open your eyes, and we'll begin. We can turn off our music. Okay, now that you are all here with me, very present, I actually just tricked all of you into doing a little bit of a hypnosis. This talk's gonna be great. You love every second of it. You laugh at all my jokes. It's gonna be great. No, but now that you're present in your body, we're gonna talk a little bit about your hormones. And the reason I wanted you to do that is because a big part of this talk today is not what hormones are, but it's about how you can recognize what your hormones are telling you inside your own body and what they're saying. Now, first, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey with hormones. Starting in high school, I realized there was something very different about my hormone cycle. My cycle would leave me bedridden for days and days at a time. I couldn't get up. I was throwing up. I was in immense pain. I would miss days and days and days of school. I would have uncomfortable sickness. It was, and we tried everything. It was rough nights at the Grant household while I was in high school. Now, we went to a few different doctors, and each doctor told me that the answer was birth control. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Doug told me no, okay? So I don't want to get in trouble. He did not encourage this because he knew that that was just a Band-Aid to what was going on. But at the time, I was so uncomfortable, and I was in so much pain that I was done. I said, I will go on birth control as long as it takes this pain away. I can't do this anymore. So we ran my blood work as well, and we showed signs of PCOS, okay? So I said, you know what? Let's just mask the problem for a second. Let's not solve the problem. I'm in high school. I have bigger things to deal with, like sports, bigger things. And that was all. So went on birth control, and unfortunately, the birth control did not solve the problem. It masked the problem. So what we started to notice is that when I graduated, I started to experience extreme acne that I had never experienced going through high school. This was a new thing for me. And I was like, what in the heck is going on with my body? So I came off the birth control, and I had even worse pain. So now, instead of just being bedridden for a few days at a time on my cycle, I ended up in the hospital about 3 months in a row saying, I cannot do this. I do not know what's going on. So we kind of got that at ease a little bit. There were a few things we would do here and there that would help the pain, but my skin was just still flaring up so bad. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to aesthetic school. I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to go to aesthetic school, and I am going to learn how to be the best esthetician out there to help people with acne. Well, that didn't help. Went to aesthetic school, and it didn't solve one dang problem I had. Not one person in that aesthetic office could tell me what was going on with my skin. So I started to think, and I was like, well, what is the only thing that has changed since I graduated high school and moved out on my own? Well, I had some free will to eat whatever I wanted outside of the Grant household now, and I used that up, and it came back to bite me in the butt. But I realized that that was the main difference. I had changed my diet completely. So I went back home one time after I had graduated aesthetic school, and we spent about a week diving into my blood work, making sure my custom pack was on point, and switching my diet back to a whole food diet, which I knew in my heart was the answer, but as an 18-year-old, the fries sound a lot better than the carrots, right? And so we switched that, and everything started to get a lot better. My skin started to clear up. My energy started to get better. And I was like, holy cow, my dad wasn't lying. Had to learn that the hard way. But then I decided I am going to compete again. I had competed when I was 15 years old for the first time. I decided I wanted to step back into that realm of competing, but the thing was I had torn my ACL 2 times before this. So now we were dealing with extreme inflammation, always feeling like I was in fight or flight. I was extremely anxious and weak a lot of the time because my body was healing from 2 big surgeries and one right after another. It was about 2 years of consistent recovery that just didn't feel great. So as I was going into this, we decided, okay, instead of being on the go 24/7, and only focusing on cardio and running and all of the things that like a basketball player would do, we decided we're going to take time dedicated to strengthening and sculpting my body. Now, what this also meant was I needed to listen to my body at the deepest level, so I needed to get good sleep. I needed to make sure my macros were on point. I needed to make sure that my nutrition was on point, my supplementation was on point, and we were able to shift the appearance of my body, but what these 2 pictures don't show is how much my anxiety, my stress, my sleep had changed from picture to picture. Now, let me tell you about the last 8 months of my life. Oh, I was not expecting to get emotional. Last year in November, I competed in my last bodybuilding show of the season. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're good. About 4 months post-show, me and my husband found out that I was pregnant, and it was really exciting. But the thing with that is when you're competing in a bodybuilding show, your hormones are a little bit all over the place. You have to do some really, really big nutrition work to make sure that they stay steady. So coming off of a show and going right into being pregnant was an extreme shift in hormones for my body. About 4 months later, I found out I had a miscarriage. Now, instead of being able to handle that right away, I had to wait a whole month before we could do a D&C surgery. So within that month, my body was in extreme fight or flight mode. We were dealing with hormone imbalances and inflammation and no sleep and all the emotions that you can imagine came with that. And as you're seeing right now too, they're still here, But after my D&C surgery, I made a decision. And the decision was, I am going to make sure that I learn how to bring my hormones back to steady and prove to my body that it's not broken, because that is what I want to do for other women too. So today, my testosterone and estrogen are back to normal balances. We have made sure that my body is in a great place for when I do decide to have another baby. And I am 2 days out from my first bodybuilding show of the season. Now, I tell you these things because I have experienced extreme hormonal shifts from one end of the spectrum to the other. And this has allowed me to work with hundreds of women to be able to help them balance their hormones as well. So today, while I'm speaking to you, I'm coming to you from a place of learning what your body is telling you. Now, you are all so intelligent, have so much knowledge, and so I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about what a hormone is, because you all know that. But what I am going to talk to you about is how to understand what your body is telling you and what that can mean for your hormones. Now, the first thing is that our bodies are always telling us what our hormones are saying, always. And so we have to learn what those cues mean. Now, how do we know that they're speaking though? We have to be extremely in tune with our bodies and our body's baseline to understand what our hormones are saying. So there's a few daily things that I encourage you to do to make sure that you know where your body's baseline is at. Number one, do you have daily non-negotiables that for you would be just as important as filling your car up with gas before you drive? Do you have daily check-in time with your body? Do you have time, 15 minutes in the day, where you say, how am I doing? How is my body doing? What is it feeling? Are you spending time each day prioritizing movement, even if that's just 15 minutes of walking around your clinic? Do you fill your body with good food that makes you feel energized and helps your body perform to its best? And do you have a specific supplementation regimen? Those things are key things we should be doing every single day to be able to know where our body's baseline is at. Now, I've been asked a few times, how will I know what my body is saying if I don't know how it feels normally? How is it supposed to feel normal? Well, here's the baseline you can think of. Stress is key. Research shows that consistent daily routine, even simple ones, just like regulating the time that you eat, prioritizing movement, and having a bedtime rhythm, serves as emotional anchors, meaning less fight or flight in your body. And these rhythms are what keep us grounded, reducing unnecessary spikes in cortisol and preventing us from being in tune with our body. We have to have a baseline, and we have to have actions we take every day to find that baseline. So if you're wondering right now, well, I don't even know what normal feels like, I encourage you to have a baseline of actions you take each day that bring you back to your baseline so that you can navigate from there if what you're feeling is normal. Now, there are 4 signs that we're going to speak about today. Number 1, mood swings. Number 2, no energy or restless sleep. Number 3, inflammation of the body. I really hope none of you have ever felt this inflamed, but if you have, we should probably talk a little bit deeper into that. And extreme weight loss or weight gain. These are the 4 main things that I see with my clients and the women that we've worked with that we get asked about. Now, number 1, mood swings. Mood swings, what are they telling us? What could be telling us, right? And I'm going to tell you one thing before I get into this as well. There could be tons of different hormones that affect each of these categories that I'm going to talk about. But why I'm picking each of these and the answer to them is because this is what I've seen most with our clients, okay? It's not cut and dry, and these are the only hormones that could be off when you're experiencing this, but this is the most common that we've seen. With mood swings, estrogen and testosterone being unbalanced is the number 1 thing that we've seen off the most when people are experiencing mood swings. When estrogen is high, you have more emotional sensitivity. making it where you feel bigger and more intense emotions. Your reactions are really high. You're sad, then happy, and it just feels very, very intense. I want you to point to someone who you think has high estrogen. Ready, go. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That was not a good idea. Not a good idea. I'm just kidding. But that is usually when you feel like someone is high and low and high and low, it's usually an estrogen thing, or that's what we have seen to be most common with our clients. Now, low testosterone equals low drive and deep emotions. What I consider to be deep emotions are going to be those heavy feelings: anxiety, angst, sadness, low drive, no motivation to do things in the day. Now, high testosterone, low estrogen is more reactivity. If you've ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around someone, like you could tell them their shoe was untied and they're like, no, it's not. It's like, okay, you probably should get that looked at because I was just letting you know a fact. So that is the biggest thing that we've seen with testosterone is there's really, really, really high reactivity. You feel very aggressive or impatient. Now, for me, I would love to feel a little bit more of this. I'd love a little bit more of that testosterone, but there's a fine line. There's a good balance. Now, what is the answer? This is my client, Kaylee, and one of the main things we have been focusing on is strength training and muscle. Kaylee was spending hours doing cardio and higher intensity exercise, which was depleting and draining her body. She had huge fluctuations in her mood. She would feel really high anxiety, and then feel good, and then feel really sad, or then really excited, and things would fluctuate. After shifting focus to strength training, her emotions completely changed. Now, not that she doesn't experience anxiety sometimes or that stress sometimes, but it's a lot more easily regulated. She feels like she has better control of that. It is a huge thing we've seen with almost all of our clients. When we encourage them to strength train 3 to 4 times a week, it seems to bring those hormones back to balance. I have heard it over and over and over again. After about 4 weeks of a client starting strength training when all they were doing was cardio, I usually get a text that's something like this. Hey, Navaeh, I have no idea what you've been putting me on, but I feel like a different human. Like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And I'm like, you're just using those muscles. Those muscles are helping quite a bit. But why? We're going to talk about myokines. The stronger the muscle is, and the more your muscle contracts, the more it produces a chemical called myokines. Myokines' job, its only job, its one sole job, is to go in and balance hormones. So when you are strength training, when you are resistance training, when you are growing muscle, your body produces more of this chemical, which then allows it to help balance hormones better. Now, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, and it's one of my favorite things that I would encourage you guys to know a lot about because it's a very simple answer with clients who don't want to strength train. I've been told multiple times, I don't want to strength train, I don't want to get bulky. And I'm like, listen, I've been trying to get bulky for years, and it's still not happening. I promise you don't have to worry about that. But this is the easiest answer. For your health, for your hormones, for your energy, you have to be strength training. Now let's talk about having no energy or restless sleep. Now what is this telling us? Usually cortisol, or your stress hormone, is out of whack, and your thyroid hormones are unbalanced. Now there are multiple ways that you could feel no energy or be restless, but this is the number one common thing that we've seen in our clients. Now, I'm going to share how I like to think of cortisol and the thyroid in my terms, probably not the terms that Dr. Harris would tell you. He could go a lot deeper into this, but what helps my mind understand them a little bit better. Your cortisol is your stress hormone. You need cortisol. You need cortisol to wake you up in the morning and cortisol drop to let you go to bed. But there is a balance that we have to find because high cortisol equals chronic stress mode. This is like what I call when someone is 24/7, like pacing the stage like this back and forth, and you got to do this and you got to do that. They're probably running on real high cortisol 24/7, right? I don't know how Doug keeps his cortisol down. If I didn't know he was as healthy as he is, I'd maybe say this is a problem, but somehow he's an anomaly. High cortisol can also mean that your body is always in survival mode. So you can't react, you can't respond how you normally would to things because you're already at your max capacity. This can also lead to high weight gain or high inflammation as well, and then high anxiety or angst all the time. Now, thyroid. I like to think of the thyroid as the engine of the body, the regulator of the body. controls metabolism, energy, and how every cell in your body uses fuel. Think of it as your energy manager. It manages the energy within your body. Low thyroid, hypothyroidism. It means fatigue, brain fog, and low motivation. High thyroid, hyperthyroidism, can mean more anxiety, restlessness, and elevated heart rate 24/7. Now, what is the answer to this? There's a lot of different answers, but I'm going to tell you about my client, Emily. This is Emily and her husband right here on the left about 2 years before, and then Emily and her husband with their baby boy. Now, one thing that we did different with Emily and her protocol was she always was taking a specific supplementation pack, right? She transformed her energy from the inside out, felt like a different human, had more energy, had more strength, but she took her supplements day and night, and she also was extremely focused on her nutrition. The other thing I want to mention with the thyroid is that OptiThyroid is an amazing product for people who always feel that angst, anxiety, and have a hard time with that regulation. It's something that I always put in my clients' custom packs if they tell me they're riding high all the time and that anxiety is really high all the time. Now let's go into inflammation. I would say that inflammation is one of the number one things that I get asked about. Hey, I just feel always inflamed. I feel puffy, I feel watery, I don't know what it is. This is one of the biggest things that your body is telling you something's wrong. If you are inflamed 24/7, that is not normal. You should not be inflamed 24/7, right? We need to dig into that. And one of the number one things we've seen with high inflammation is insulin. Now, this is kind of a different topic in the training world because a lot of people like to dive specifically into no carbs. No carbs is going to cause no inflammation. But what we have found is that it's a balance. It's a balance of the types of carbs that you're eating and when you're eating them. Now, what is insulin? Insulin is your blood sugar regulator and your energy distributor. Moves sugar from your blood into your cells for energy or storage, keeps blood sugar balanced so your body can function smoothly, works closely with cortisol and other hormones to manage stress and energy. And if insulin isn't working the way that it should, sugar gets backed up in the blood, making it so the blood can't flow properly, causing more inflammation and more stress on the body. Oh, there we go. Now, what is the answer? Miss Courtney is in here right now, and if she wouldn't kill me, I would maybe make her stand up. You want to raise your hand? Yay, there she is. How fun. This is Courtney, okay? And a few things about Courtney. Courtney always ate healthy. Courtney, Whole Foods are her jam. Her household, healthy, right? But one of the main things we shifted was specific macronutrients. The amount of carbs, the amount of fats, and the amount of proteins she was consuming, and the time of day she was consuming them. This helped balance the insulin in her body a whole lot better, which then decreased inflammation. As you can see, those back muscles are pretty gnarly, and allowed her body to release the inflammation so that she was working with her body instead of against her body. Another really, really, really awesome supplement we found for this is Digestamil. Digestamil is something that I would recommend to all clients who have high inflammation. I usually do a 2 morning, 2 afternoon, 2 night with anyone struggling with inflammation, and it seems to be a miracle worker. I think there was a talk on NSAID packs earlier as well, and that's a really big one too. Now, one really cool thing about Courtney too I want to mention is that her life is stressful. She's a mom. She runs a business, 2 businesses, actually, runs a household. She's going all the time. And so that inflammation would be easy for her body to create. But with the right macronutrients, the right movement, and the right supplements, she was able to regulate that even in a higher stress environment. Now let's talk weight gain and weight loss. This is a big, big, big one in my world of training. Why am I just gaining weight when I don't ever eat? I don't know if you have ever felt this way, but a common thing that I hear is all I did was eat breakfast and I didn't eat anything else throughout the day and somehow I still gained weight. Or I ate a ton in the morning and I didn't eat again and then I ate a ton for dinner, but those calories just didn't add up. What's going on? Well, let's talk leptin and ghrelin. okay? This is one of my favorite things to talk about. It also makes me feel like I don't know why, this is kind of weird, but it makes me feel like I'm in a cartoon and I'm like naming off different cartoon characters. I'm like leptin, ghrelin, it kind of sounds funny. But when we talk about leptin and ghrelin, I always like to mention that they're two different functions in the body. They're going to cause two different things. Leptin is your full hormone. This one is regulated by fat cells. Low leptin means high cravings. High leptin equals no appetite. Now, your ghrelin is your hungry hormones produced in the gut. Low ghrelin, less cravings or hunger cues. High ghrelin, crave more and you're hungry more. So you can imagine if your leptin and ghrelin are thrown off, you're going to have spikes of being so hungry and craving Taco Bell or whatever you want to crave. And then you're going to have times where you don't want to eat anything and you're just not even hungry at all, right? So it's a big deal that we're looking into this. Now, what is the answer? This is my client, Jessica. Now, when Jessica came to me, she had said, I have done everything to lose weight. It just is stubborn. I have fasted. I have done every diet out there. I have done every cardio protocol out there. And the answer was more simple than we thought. It was more essential fats, more EFA. EFA is a supplement that I will have in all of my girls' packs 24/7. I will never take it out, never have, never will. Because every woman and man should be taking essential fatty acids, not only to help balance their leptin and ghrelin, but your body relies on essential fatty acids to create hormones in the first place. So without enough essential fatty acids, your body's not even going to be creating the hormones that it needs to function. The other answer was more whole foods and fiber-rich foods so that she felt fuller for longer. Her gut was starting to heal, and she wasn't craving as sugary of foods. Meal timing was a very big one, making sure that her body was eating every 2 to 3 hours so that she was able to regulate when she was hungry or just bored or craving something or needing something, right? Because there's two differences, craving and needing, and we have to know the difference there. Now, in order to do that, your body needs enough fuel in the tank to be able to tell you what it actually needs. If you don't have enough nutrients or enough fuel in your body, you will just be craving things because your body's saying, hey, we don't have enough things to run. We need more. We don't have energy. We're not sleeping. Help. We can't lose this weight. And so you have to have enough nutrients in your body to even be able to understand what your body's telling you. Now, the other big thing for this is Flora Plus. If you have not written that down, write it down, text it over. Everyone needs Flora Plus in their pantry, and every one of your clients needs Flora Plus. Why? Because of the probiotics. We're solving the problem. We're not masking the problem. We're solving the problem because we are fixing the gut bacteria inside the gut so that you are experiencing less cravings, more on-time hunger cues, and not those up and down hunger cues that are going all day with weird cravings, right? You have enough healthy bacteria in your gut that those cravings aren't as intense, or you're experiencing hunger cues at the right time. This client stayed on track with meal timing, more whole foods, was consistent with her Flora Blitz pack, which helped her lose weight. But the more exciting thing was it helped her keep it off. It wasn't just about losing the weight and it ended there. It was about the lifestyle change she was able to make because her body didn't constantly feel like it was fighting against her anymore. She was solving the problem internally so that she wasn't constantly fighting against her body to stop craving these things. Flora Plus is in my pantry at all times, and if you don't take it, you need to take it. Because if you're like me, you want chocolate every night, and that's probably not the best option. Now, what is the answer? It's an overall holistic approach. Strength training, whole foods, and specific supplementation. With those three things, you are solving more hormone imbalances than you could even imagine. But by knowing what these cues are in your body and your clients' and patients' body, you're able to help them understand what specific nutrients they need, what maybe they're deficient in, what type of strength training they need also. So number one, this is the number one thing that you're going to do every week and you're going to have your clients or patients do every week. 30 minutes, 4 times a week with weights. Do you guys recognize this picture up here at the top? It's Darcy, if you didn't know. I put a heart over her face for a second just to trick her like I wasn't going to rat her out, but then I decided I was going to rat her out, and so there she is. But it has to be strength training. You have to use weights. You have to use resistance bands. We need to get those muscles working. So 4 times a week, 30 minutes, you're going to strength train. Yeah? Yeah, awesome. Okay, I'm going to hold you to it. Second thing, whole foods. Work with single ingredient foods more often. Now, when I say this, a lot of the time people come to me and say, yeah, well, a salad has lots of ingredients. And I'm like, okay, you're right. But every ingredient in that salad is one single ingredient, right? So work with more single ingredient foods, veggies, fruits, rice, chicken, a bodybuilder diet, if you will, because then you know that you're getting enough of those enzymes from your foods plus your specific supplementation. So every week, we're going to start incorporating more single ingredient foods. I challenge you, for every single meal that you have at least 3 single ingredient foods on your plate. So if you can't look at your plate and say, oh, single ingredient food, single ingredient food, single ingredient food, we have a problem. Yeah? Sound good? Number 3, specific supplementation. Nutrient RX blood work, fiber GLP-1, female and male balance packs, and a bonus creatine. If you are not taking every single one of these and you have not got your blood work done, that is where we start. How do we know where your baseline is? How do we know what hormones actually need to be balanced? How do we know what nutrients you're deficient in if we don't have your blood work? And then how do we solve that? You take your fiber GLP-1 for your gut, you take your female and male balance pack for your hormones, and now, because this is a new product coming out this weekend, you're going to take your creatine, because your creatine is going to help your muscles recover, the neural pathways in your brain connect better, and your energy stay higher so that you can do your 4 days of strength training a week. Now, your last thing is you're going to find a health professional that hits all of these targets customized to you. If you are a doctor or a client, or you own a clinic in this room, or you are any sort of health professional, I encourage you to make sure that you are on track with your health and fitness. You have someone guiding you in the direction that you need to be going. And you have someone that you can refer your patients to, or that you're helping your patients do as well. Because if you don't have the answers to a holistic lifestyle, true change cannot be made. This comes with your strength training, your whole foods, your supplementation, and making sure that you're in tune with your body every single day. Out here today, we have Sovereign Lifestyle, who works with men to help them reach their peak potential. And my company, Balanced Babes, helps women to help reach their full health potential as well. We would love to talk to you guys about any of your concerns or any of your wants or needs. But whether it's us or someone else, I encourage you today to take action in finding someone who can lead you to your max potential in your health. Whether that's just someone you follow on social media, whether that's a friend or family member that you know is really into working out and you text them right now and say, hey, don't let me forget that I have to work out 4 times a week because I told Navaeh I was going to, and if I don't, that's lying. Flying. If you nodded yes and you don't, that's a lie. But no matter what it is, you have to make sure that you are at baseline before you help others. One of the biggest things I see in all high-achieving people is that you tend to serve everyone else before you serve yourself. If you do not serve yourself at the highest level, you are unable to serve everyone else around you. So before you encourage your clients or patients or friends and family to take control of their health, I encourage you to find the person that is going to lead you to your peak health potential. Thank you.